Hello? Hello?
I hear you, Scott.
I can't get my video to work, so let me work on it a minute.
Should be down on the bottom of the screen.
He's up again.
Hello? Hello?
I hear you, Scott.
I can't get my video to work, so let me work on it a minute.
We're live on YouTube now.
Should be down on the bottom of the screen.
Hey Scott, it says your video is on, so is there something covering your camera?
Hello?
Like a post-it note or something?
I hear you, Scott.
I can't get my video.
There it is.
Let me work on it a minute. There I am.
On YouTube now.
Should be down on the bottom of the screen. Something is repeating over and over our voices.
I think I just took care of it.
Okay, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you see me?
yes.
Yeah.
I would like to call Ferrisburg City Council meeting to order tonight, 7 p.m., Monday, August 3rd, 2020. Roll call, please.
Mayor Hop,
Here.
Councilmember DeWitt.
Here.
Councilmember Carlson,
Here.
Councilmember Blease,
Here.
Councilmember Montgomery,
Here.
Councilmember Sias,
Here.
Councilmember O'Donnell.
At this time, I'd like to share that Councilmember O'Donnell has reached out to me shortly before the meeting started and stated that he was on an emergency run to Detroit with his employment.
Your Honor, I would make a motion, we excuse Councilman O'Donnell.
Okay, is there support?
Support.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sias,
Yay.
Councilmember Carlson,
Yes.
Councilmember Blease,
Yes.
Councilmember Montgomery,
Yeah.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes.
Mayor Hop,
Yes,
motion passed.
thank you. Pursuant with Executive Order number 2020-154, the Ferrisburg City Council will conduct its business via Zoom to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. Members of the public are welcome and encouraged to participate in this meeting. Members of the public are not required to register or otherwise provide information to attend. Please utilize the mute function on your phone while on the conference call. When appropriate, Mayor Hop will run the virtual meeting like a regular meeting. There will be opportunities at the beginning and end of the meeting for public comments. Moving down to item number 3, a moment of silence. At this time, please remember those that are struggling with COVID-19, unemployment, and all other challenges during these uncertain times. Thank you. At this time, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America,
and to the
and
republic
republic
for
for
which
which
it stands, one nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty,
Liberty and
and
justice for all.
for all. Thank you. At this time, item number 5 is for public comment. This time on the agenda is for any citizens to direct brief comments or questions. to the City Council. Time for public comments will be given when the agenda item is discussed. If you have a comment or question, please raise your hand to be recognized by the mayor. After being recognized by the mayor, please stand, give your name and address for the record, and proceed with your comments or questions. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. At this time, I'm seeing no hands raised with our attendees. So we'll move down to item 6. Consideration approval of consent agenda. A, approve the July 2020 City Council meeting minutes as printed. B, adopt the ordinance number 312, an ordinance to provide 1 alternate member to the Kitchell-Lindquist Hartford Dunes Preserve. C, approve the mayor's appointment of Deb Huggins to the Kitchell-Lindquist Hartford Dune Preserve Board as an alternate member for the term ending July 1, 2023. Roll call, please.
Need a vote, motion and support first.
Oh,
Your Honor,
here, yes.
should we vote on A and B and then C after we approve the addition of a member?
We may do that also. That was a concern that Councilmember Montgomery had in another consent agenda.
So I would make the motion, we approve consent agenda A and B at this time, and then move on to C later.
support,
Motion support. Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Carlson,
yes,
Councilmember Blease,
Yes.
Councilmember Montgomery,
yes,
Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes,
Councilmember Sias,
yes,
Mayor Hop.
Yes,
Motion passed.
thank you. Item 6C, approve the mayor's appointment of Deb Huggins to the Kitchell-Lindquist Hartford Dunes Preserve Board as an alternate member for the term ending July 1, 2023.
so moved.
We need a so there's a
Support.
motion and a support. Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Blease,
Yes.
Councilmember Montgomery,
yes,
Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes,
Councilmember Sias,
yes,
Councilmember Carlson,
yes,
Mayor Hop.
Yes,
Motion passed.
thank you. Moving down to 7, new business. 7A, discussion and take action if appropriate to approve the application and petition to the North Ottawa County Water Resource Commissioner to establish and construct North Shore Drive drain. We need a motion and support.
I'll make a motion at this time, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I'll support,
And a support. Okay, moving into further discussion. I see that Mary has her hand up. So if we can listen to her comments, please. We need to unmute her.
Yes, can you hear me?
And thank you.
Yes, great. So this is Mary Gabois, 19022 North Shore Drive. I'm going to just start and reiterate a statement I made at the last meeting, as I know a few of the commissioners were not able to be at the last one. Again, we're hoping that you approve the request for our petition for our North Shore area to be declared a drainage district run by Joe Bush. And I sent out a PDF this morning with photos that I've taken of a backyard. I know Craig sent them out. It provides a chronology of the issues in our backyard up through this past weekend. So until last spring, we had never had water in the backyard in the 14 years we've lived here. And neighbors have told us that they've never had water even in the mid-1980s when Lake Michigan was as high as it is now. Some water began in the spring of 2019 that never went away and peaked in mid-May this year, where the water was threatening our home as well as some of our neighbors. And the water has only gone down a small amount, even after 2 months of 90% sunny days and minimal rain. So this is not just a water, rainwater issue. So we were able to successfully lower the water by pumping it into the storm drains down the street, which we did at significant cost to ourselves, but were then told after 1 week that we had to stop pumping by the city of Ferrisburgh. And this issue directly affects our home as well as 3 adjacent homes and 2 owners of vacant land behind us. But our concern is not only for our properties, but for the health hazard to the entire North Shore community. The mosquitoes are horrible, even despite the fact that we are spraying monthly at our own expense. And we fear about an outbreak of West Nile, Eastern equine encephalitis, or other severe mosquito-carrying diseases. And we now have significant algae blooms, which can cause serious health issues to both people and animals. And we've contacted the State of Michigan Department of the Environment about this, as we've been told to do. And there also are mature fir trees that are dying due to the standing water, which could have a serious impact on the community if they die and fall, or could have the potential for a brush fire. And you can see these on the last page of the PDF that I sent. So I realize that it can take some time for a drainage district to be established. So in the meantime, we request that we can be able to start pumping into the storm drains immediately, just in order to get a head start on alleviating the aforementioned health concerns. And I'm done. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the pictures that you did send out today. It just gave more of a narrative to your story, so thank you. I see that there's more hands that are raised. Greg, would you like to speak at this time? Are you unmuted? Yes. Greg, would you like to speak? He's been unmuted. Then we'll move down to, there's a Kristen and Chad Paulson. We need to unmute them.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. We just wanted, we're next door neighbors to Mary Gadbois. So we're at 19026 North Shore Drive. And she said it very well, but we just wanted to give you kind of an idea of how it's impacted us as well. We're looking at potentially having property value depreciation as a result of the floodwaters, but really, the main issue that we see, in addition to the mosquitoes that Mary mentioned, between the water in our houses, we have septic drain fields. So at the peak of the water level for us, it was basically flush with that system, and it still hasn't, and it's still adjacent to the septic system. So, we're concerned, our daughter's back there catching frogs and playing. So just concerned about potential for E. coli and other things in the water. So we're asking today for any help that the city is willing to offer.
Okay. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
And then we'll go back to Greg. Greg, are you available to speak? No, then we'll move down to John Beelan.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, John.
Hi, it's John Bellion. I'm also a neighbor of Greg and Mary Gadbois, 19018 North Shore. I just want to reiterate what everyone has said about the danger of infections and diseases, the health hazards, and say we'd really like to get this out permanently as quickly as we can. Michigan Department of Health recommends that standing waters be drained as well as they can be. I also wanted to say something about the urgency with respect to property damage. In May of right now, I'm about 21 inches away from incursion into the room I sit in right now by the water. Now I'm pretty comfortable right now about that. It's about the same though as it was at the end of last year, and I was shocked at how quickly it will rise, because in the middle of May, after the downpours, we came within 3 to 4 inches of having that water come into our lower level. So it rose really very quickly. And I think had it not been for my neighbors, I live permanently in resident Minnesota. And had it not been for my neighbors who were using 3 different small pumps, I think actually, in fact, I would have had flood water in. So at 21 inches right now, it feels pretty safe. But history tells us that fall rains can be very much like spring rains. This spring we had a little over 12.5 inches in 60 days, and there were two 5-day periods of really high rain, and that's just not uncommon for the fall season. In 2019, just last year, there was over 13 and a half, nearly 14 inches of rain in 60 days during the fall. And again, some very hard rains for some 5-day periods. It's happened historically. Roughly the same thing happened in 1986. And in that case, it was nearly 18 inches of rain in the fall. So I'm concerned that that this, both for a health standpoint and from a property damage standpoint, I'm concerned that we need at least to have some way to protect ourselves and our property before, as soon as possible, certainly before the fall rains. And
Okay.
Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. I see 2 more hands up. Let's see if we can get Greg. You can unmute yourself. There you go. Greg, do you want to speak now? Greg? Mary, would you like to speak? I see both hands up.
You know what? Yes, thank you. I just wanted, looks like Greg is having issues with his audio. So I just thought I would hop in and just quickly let you know what his point of view was.
Okay, thank you.
Very quickly, just as a physician, he is extremely concerned about the health hazards that both I brought up as well as Chad spoke to in terms of the mosquito-prone viruses, the E. coli, the algae blooms. And he also just is from a, liability standpoint. I know John Bellion sent a letter to Craig, and I believe you as well, Rebecca, end of May, early June about this issue. We've spoken, I spoke 2 weeks ago at the meeting. I got Joe Bush involved way back in May. So this has been on the public record now for quite some time. So again, just from a liability standpoint, knowing that this standing water is causing and could cause these potential illnesses, we just feel like it's mandatory that something gets done immediately before another neighbor of North Shore or a renter of a home on North Shore has an issue with one of these illnesses and then is trying to figure out who to address address their concerns.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. At this time, I don't see any more hands being raised. So we'll move into, I know we have Joe Bush is with us. If you'd like to, somebody has some feedback.
Yeah.
Mr. Bush, would you like to add your insight into this? Because I understand that you have been out there and you have spoken with the residents.
Yeah, yep, Craig and I both have been out there. I've been out there several times. And hopefully it's not my feedback. Is it mine? Are we good?
I think it's
You're good,
coming.
Joe.
Mike
Okay.
has two for some reason.
If you're
Okay.
not speaking, if you would mute your mic, I'd appreciate it.
Just make sure it's not me. I don't want to be hurting your ears. But yeah, Craig and I both have been out there together, and I've been out there separately to meet with the property owners. Yeah, this was a challenging situation. There is a lot of water in the back. There isn't an immediate fix. Again, I don't have any jurisdiction, nor do I have any jurisdiction over the storm sewer in the road, or I don't have a county drain nearby. So this is all kind of a new territory. Again, kind of like Park Place Circle. It's a petition requirement, which you guys have before you tonight. I know Craig has those. Is there going to be an immediate fix? I don't want to give false hope that we're going to be able to have a pumping station and have somewhere to go with it within months. That's not going to happen, at least under our watch, because it takes time to get easement, get an engineer involved. We got to hold a board of determination to even determine it, if it's necessary or not. This is all per drain code, state law. So it's not like we're going to have something before, let's say October, November. I'm lucky right now with the 50 petitions I have, seems like this year, with all the flooding. We're probably looking at sometime in September to hold a board of determination. I got Chad in my background here. Would that be right? Yeah, so we're probably looking towards the end of September to hold that public hearing. But again, first we need a petition. And once we get that, we can try to arrange, everything is via Zoom now. So this is making it more challenging. But we can do it. But we're probably looking at, again, the end of September for a board of determination. Once that happens, and if that board of determination at that time says, yeah, Joe, you can go ahead and move forward with a project, then there's easements and design, and figure out, all right, where's our option to go with this water? The challenge is, I've had, I talked to Phil Johnson, I talked to Lakeshore Environmental, Kurt from over there. This is just a challenging area. You got the Ottawa Sands in the back on the east side. You got Lake Michigan on the west. You got the Grand River on the pretty much the south west or southeast side of this location. So it's definitely got its challenges. And with the amount of rainfall we had, the groundwater comes up, North Holiday Hills all over again. And if anybody's familiar, I got my issues up there. So we don't have a fix up there very quickly either, because it's like, where are you going to go with the water that doesn't impact other people? So I just want to make that clear. This isn't a quick fix. Hey, we're going to have a solution in 2 months. Just because we have a petition, that just starts, that's the beginning of starting the process legally with drain code. Hopefully that helps. Being out there, I know Nick Bonstell, the emergency manager, has been out there several times. I know your fire chief's been out there. They put up a wall with sandbags and trying to help your residents at, that way. But again, there's not an easy solution that's a quick fix out there. I wish there was, but again, that's why we're here tonight, right? If there was a quick, easy fix, we'd probably be on that quickly. But, and I understand that the challenges with West Nile and any other diseases and the algae bloom, and, we're getting that all over the county in certain flooded areas. So this is not new to us, but definitely challenging for us, which I'm up for the challenge. That's part of our job. We can do it. It's not going to be a quick fix. That's all. Hopefully that helps.
Thank you. At this point, I know Councilmember Carlson had his hand raised earlier. Councilmember Carlson, did you have a question or comment?
My only comment would be is that if you're not speaking, unmute yourself and then use the space bar when you're ready to speak. That's how it's done in Zoom. So.
Right, I think people understand that. Do you have a question? Do you have a question?
No,
Mr. Carlson?
After Craig talked about it, I lowered my hand.
Okay, thank you. Didn't want to miss anyone. Any council members have a question regarding this? either to Mr. Bush or to Mr. Bessinger.
Your Honor, I have a question for Joe, if I may, or a couple maybe. I know in the, with the North Shore, with the Park Place issue, Spring Lake Township, everybody's kind of tied into that, where the water's coming from. This kind of borders the Grand Haven border as well. Would it be wise of us to get them involved, or is this something that we'll wait to see what your investigation proves, if where the water's coming from? But would Grand Haven be liable for some of this as well, do you think?
Oh, there we are. Yeah, I think the drain district map got sent to you, and I have to look. Was Grand Haven part of that? Grand Haven? I'm not, I don't think Grand Haven City is involved like Spring Lake Township's involved on the other one. So,
Okay.
yeah, but we would definitely, once we have the board of determination and we get a drain district established, I just gave you a temporary kind of a oversight map to give you an idea of what that location looks like, but an engineer would, part of drain code, I'd have to get an engineer to verify that drain district. And if they're in, they're in. And then we would make that notification to Pat McGinnis and the city council over there. But as right now, the petition process, they don't have to be involved at this point. This is strictly by the city of Ferrisburgh. Hopefully that helps.
No, yeah, great, thank you.
Okay.
The council has the option of asking the residents to file a petition, if that's something that council would choose to do at this time. No, open for discussion.
If I have a question on your comment, if the citizens open up the application, would that be a longer, more strenuous process for them if they didn't have the city council open up the petition? Or maybe Joe can answer that as well.
It does. It would lengthen the process probably another 2 months, maybe month, 2 months.
Okay.
It's just something to consider all sides when
Yeah.
we're moving forward with this.
No, I know. I just want to, yeah, definitely. Okay.
Councilmember DeWitt, did you have a question? You need to unmute yourself, please.
Okay, I have a question for Joe.
Okay,
Joe still here?
yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm still here.
Yeah, when you say no easy fix, I equate that with lots of dollar signs. As I looked at the the most obvious thing would be to bore a pipe over to Ottawa Sands. If the county allows that, to drain it that way would be the most obvious choice in my mind. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, when I say yeah, the other challenge, not just financial, is getting permits, because I'll have to get an Eagle or DEQ permit and Army Corps, because we're going to be putting that water potentially somewhere. Maybe it's even the Grand River, just like Park Place Circle. I'm sure we might be pumping that into Grand River. So there's a potential of getting permits. That's the other challenging part. Sometimes it's not all financially. It can be just getting an easement. And in 2020, getting an easement can be a very big challenge. Some people won't even let me cross somebody's yard and help a community relieve from flooding. They'll say, nope, go around, and they make the cost 3 times more. Not saying that would happen here, but I'm just giving that. I want to be very clear that it could be an easement problem. It could be a permitting problem. And again, location of where you're going to discharge the water. So those are the challenges. And yeah, it could be financially, but we don't know that. Can we pump up in the Ottawa Sands? That could be a good location, but I don't know if that's feasible or not, or even if it'll work, or if we put it up there, are we going to flood somebody else out on the other side? Or, there's all kinds of, we got to look at that, evaluate it. Hopefully that helps.
Well, I guess my question would be is, you've looked at the site, just a ballpark idea where you think you're going to go with the water.
Well, being that you can't go in the storm sewer because it's kind of a, that is kind of a, what I want to say, a French drain type of a system under North Shore Drive. So there's no outlet there going in. And that's the reason that is because Eagle or Army Corps probably wouldn't permit a direct outlet into Lake Michigan from the road. So looking at it now, you might need a pump. Those aren't cheap. You got to get electricity to the pump, and then you got to figure out where you're going to pump it to. So those are kind of, because you're so low, the elevations, do a drive-by and you'll see that it's just so low. You got to pump that backyard or those backyards, that area somewhere higher. So that's the challenge. It's going to be a pump somewhere, I would think.
So as I looked at it, basically, if it's say $1 million project, you have 4 or 5 houses that would be liable for that money, correct?
Well, I think it's going to be bigger than that. I think they're getting more people's water than just that. And that's where that drain district would be more defined at the public hearing for the board of determination. Because right now it's all, we gave you a map, but you know, there's some that may be in, some may be out, but it's more than just those 4 homes. They're probably just the lowest, but there's other people who are higher that are getting their water.
Okay, so I just want to make it clear to the citizens that want to petition that they're going to be liable for this bill for the most part.
That is correct. I think I've been very open to that going into this. That it's not going to be, you know, just a $100,000 fix maybe. Could be, but I'm just saying if it is, the city's not going to pick up the 100,000. I don't think. I can't speak for the city, but typically we don't assess 100% to the municipality. You know.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to be clear for the citizens listening that if this is say a $1 million project, you got 10 or 20 houses in that district, they're the ones that are going to pay the bill.
Correct.
So they're aware of that. Now we can petition it, but the city's not going to pick up the check here.
And that's totally up to the city. You know, there's going to be a percentage like any other project, but we can work that out with Craig and this, you know, city council. But yeah, the people will probably be sharing the, you know, the assessment cost as well. You're right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm looking at attendees and Greg has his hand back up. So we're going to try to get Greg an opportunity to speak. Greg, do you want to speak?
I do. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Oh, thank goodness. Hi, this is Greg Gadbois. I live at 19022 North Shore Drive. And first of all, I appreciate the robust discussion that we've had tonight. I really do believe that everyone is trying to help us find a solution for this issue. One question I had, it might be for Joe Bush, is there is a suspicion that we have that some of this could be coming from a higher level of the Ottawa Sands Lake. Some of that might be due to the ground level water going up. Some of it might be due to the change from it being a private property to a county property. And I'm just curious if we determine that higher water level, because there definitely is a higher water level. When I go around there, there's absolutely no doubt there are definitely mature trees that are underwater. Parts of the trails are underwater. So there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that the water level of Ottawa Sands Lake is higher. Is there an opportunity to pump from there into the Grand River and lower that level to see if that might alleviate the issues that we have in our backyard? Because again, I understand the issue. We could pump all day. If we stop pumping, the water's going to come back to where it is. If it does come out to be that the Ottawa Sands Lake is the reason that we're having that higher water level, how expensive do you think that would be to put a pump into that and pump it into the river? And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Hopp, you want me to answer?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. So sitting on the Parks and Rec Commission, because I'm a board member on there as well, and we've had these discussions about Ottawa Sands when they purchased and recently. And you're right, it is pretty high. The only issue, I don't know if the parks would have an issue with it. I can't speak for everybody, but I think permitting is going to be a challenge. Again, Eagle and Army Corps would have to give the Parks Department a permit to pump if that is the case. And, you know, I'm sure the engineer if the board of determination determines it necessary, I think that's one of the options to look at, because everybody's talked about it. I know Phil Johnson, he's got his expertise at it. Kurt over at Lakeshore Environmental, but it doesn't hurt to maybe take another evaluation at it just to make sure. Not saying it is or isn't by any means, but I think the permitting is going to be the biggest challenge, just because you're putting it into another body of water, and that is the jurisdiction of Army Corps, and Eagle will definitely have a say in it, as long as it's clean water and everything else. But if it's clean and everything is monitored and it's for flooding purposes, and it's trying to protect public health and welfare, I think there's an argument there. So hopefully that answers the question, but it's a possibility. It's just about permitting is going to be the biggest challenge.
Okay, thank you. Right now we have Jim and Lisa have their hand up if they'd like to speak at this point. Also, Lisa wrote a note down in the Q&A too.
Thank you, Mayor Hawk. We have lots 424012 and are directly impacted by this high water level that we have in North Shore Swamp number 1. We would like to see the city put a water truck and pump, because when we had the pumping going on into the French Drain on North Shore, we were able to lower the water levels, and we saw a serious reduction at that time. We would like that to be a first concern prior to, and you are welcome to come on our land, Joe Bush, and water trucks to do what you need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa, does that answer your question that you had in the Q&A?
No.
Okay. Mr. Bush, would you want to address that question?
I'm
Or
assuming
Mr. Bessinger?
that's about pumping in the storm sewer.
No, she's utilizing it like a water truck. Is that something, Mr. Bessinger, that you could respond to?
I think she's referring to pumping it to the storm sewer on North Shore Drive, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Lisa?
No, Mr. Bessinger, that is not. We would like a city water truck or to hire a city water truck to pump it out and carry it away in the truck. Jim asked.
So she's asking to suck it up into a truck and into a tanker and haul it out with a pump.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And that's something that, up to the city, I guess. I had to put that under Craig. And what are your thoughts with that, Craig?
I can look into that. I'm not sure what's all involved in something like that or a cost. We can explore that option, sure.
Okay.
I'm sure the cost of the health would be of more impact for the city residents because of the high population of mosquitoes, West Nile, the E. coli in the sanitary sewer septic systems, because we do not have sewers out here on North Shore. Thank you.
So Mr. Bessinger, will you be able to get back with council?
Yes.
By the next council meeting or so? Okay. I'm not seeing any more hands raised. Do council members have any more questions? Yes,
I have
Will.
one, Mayor.
Yes.
Craig, is there anything, any legality stopping residents from hiring their own water truck?
No, nothing at all.
So you're looking at them mitigating their own water?
Well, so it was brought up as an option, and I understand that setting it as a drain, county drain is going to be a long process. So it's an option for a short term as opposed to dumping it. I know they're not allowed to dump it in the storm drain.
Correct. Councilmember Sias, did you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, one thing I want to remind everybody that this flooding, I think the majority of it is on private property. And I don't think we've heard from the landowner yet. So that would be something we might want to consider as well, Craig, checking into that before, if trucking is possible. Make sure that, this individual does not mind that we're impeding on his property. And Joe, that's another thing I kind of was worried about with the county and the petition is I feel that, that might add another challenge to the whole issue is that it is all on private property. So, yeah, but we got to keep that in mind. So that's all I want to, I just want to make sure everybody realizes that.
Sure, thank you. I'm looking at John has his hand up. He's one of the attendees. John, if you'd like to speak. If you can unmute yourself, John.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Just with, again, the fall rains coming and knowing from Joe Bush that we're not likely to have a solution by then, and of course being restricted by the city to pump it ourselves, it'd be really helpful to have some contingency plan. Our pumping, while it probably just recycled the water a little bit, it did keep the water level down low enough that there was no incursion to the house. So yeah, it would be helpful to have at least some kind of a to mitigate strong fall rains. That's all I'd have to say.
Okay, thank you. So not seeing any more questions. Any more comments from council?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I got a question for Craig.
Sure.
Do you feel that this is a city issue where we should look into actually hiring a pump to pump it out and haul it away, or you think this is a private property issue? I mean, Councilman Sias brought this up. I'd like some feedback from Craig.
In the past, when there's been flooding issues, if the city's been able to assist at a relatively low cost, we've done that. I'm not sure what a tanker truck would cost to have something pumped into it and where that water would be discharged. I don't know enough to answer the question right now, what's all involved in this.
Well, if it's a major expense, I think we should get approval from the homeowners involved to mitigate that expense. I don't feel as if we're talking hundreds of dollars, is not a big deal. If we're talking thousands, perhaps a homeowner should look into the mitigation. Just a thought.
Mr. Buzzin stated that he would be responding or getting some information back to council as soon as he can get, I'm assuming within the next few days, possibly a week, on what the possible cost would be to this.
I'll work as fast as I can on it.
Okay. Also, there's two more hands up. Let's go with Mary next. If you'd like to unmute, you can ask your question.
Great. Thank you. I just wanted to reiterate a couple points that have been made. First of all, although maybe the most directly impacted by this issue are the 4 homeowners and 2 lot owners in direct access to this water, we don't know if potentially, because we are the low lying elevation in the area, how much of our issue is actually potentially caused by the French drains that are bringing water from other slightly higher areas to our properties. So the thought that we, the 6 people would be responsible for hiring the tanker doesn't quite make sense, because obviously there are other homeowners that are likely contributing to the issue in our backyards. Obviously, not meaning, but just that's where the water is going. And then second of all, I just wanted to reiterate the point that someone else made about needing access to the property. And I just want to say again, Lisa and Jim Menerick have a open lot that would be able to be accessed to pump the water out into the tanker or whatever the solution that you guys come up with if you need access from a lot to the water.
Okay, thank you. And I see Lisa and Jim have their hand up. If you'd like to speak.
Yes.
So I have a question. We apparently can't pump the water into the drains on North Shore Drive, correct? Okay. So then my question is, Coast Guard Park was all pumped into that drain along North Shore Road next to the trailer park. You know, it was pumped in there for about a week. I don't see why that's allowable and our situation is not allowable. That's it.
Mr. Bussinger, would you like to respond to that one regarding the drain design?
That water from Park Place Circle was being pumped into a storm drain that outletted into the county drain.
And that's not available out on North Shore Road, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Ours is a dry well. What's the difference? I don't understand.
Mayor, I believe that on North Shore Drive up in what we're discussing, that's drained into a tank or of some sort, isn't it? I mean, yeah, we don't have the drainage. Yeah, on the road that just goes into a holding tank and then it disperses in the ground. What drain?
It's a leaching basin.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't really have an outlet. And I think that was the city's concern, as far as I could see, is that reaching maximum capacity with the extra water being pumped in there and it just not being able to disperse in time. So I think that's kind of the reason why that's the difference in the drainage.
Correct.
We also, Mayor Hop, we also,
Yes.
Lisa Menerick, we also have several conditions that are interfering and adding more water to these properties. You have North Shore Estates with more cement. You have North Shore Drive, which is larger, which has no stormwater drains until it comes down almost to the base. There are a lot more cement. There's not gravel driveways like there used to be. And I think that is impacting the French drains not being cleaned properly by the city. Ottawa Sands being 5 foot higher and the high water level. I really think it's the civic responsibility of the city to assist us with this problem. Thank you.
Thank you. So at this point, Mr. Bussinger is going to be researching on the cost of a pumper tanker truck. But then also before council right now, there's a motion and support on a decision and take action if appropriate to approve the application and petition to Ottawa County Water Resource Commissioner to establish and construct a North Shore drain. So what would, at this point, what decision does council, what direction do you want to go at this point?
Roll
Your
call
Honor,
vote.
Oh, hold on, Mr. DeWitt,
Roll call vote.
roll call vote. Mr.
Yes.
Councilmember Sayas, you had a question?
I don't see any harm in the county looking into this and the council going ahead with a petition. That's my personal opinion. I think it would do us some good to get some good hard facts on the issue. You know, and I think with Joe's assistance, he gives us a better understanding of the whole situation and what we can do back there. And this is a tough one, I know, because there's no drainage up there or over there. So where do we go with the water and with DEQ and everything? So I don't see any harm with the city council supporting this petition at this time, but that's my opinion.
Okay, and then we have Councilmember Montgomery.
Yeah, I would just agree with Jerry. We're not committing to any costs at this point. So I think it's our responsibility to, even if it just speeds up their process for a month or two, it's our responsibility to push it forward as quick as we can.
Okay, and now Councilmember Carlson. you had a question or a comment?
I certainly would support putting this in the county's hands. And secondly, because the engineering will be done, goes forward, the engineering will all be done with the county. We don't need to do our own little local engineering. That can be all done. The citizens are more than welcome to do that if they want to on their own accord. But the engineering will all be taken care of by the county and the taxpayers that are going to be assessed for it. So I'm not in favor of us getting involved in pumping and doing our own tests and everything else.
Okay. Before we go to a roll call vote, I see Greg has his hand up. Greg, do you want to unmute yourself?
Can you hear me?
And
Wonderful, thank you. Listen, I just wanted to kind of make sure that we have the right perspective on this. There's kind of a short-term issue and then a long-term issue. Obviously, working with Mr. Bush on the long-term issue is going to be important because obviously there's a reason why this water is here. I don't know if it's coming from Ottawa Sands or not, but there is a reason why this water continues to come up and stay where it is. The short-term issue also has to do with the concerns that Mr. Billion brought up, which are if we start to get heavy rains again, this water could get to a point where it starts to threaten our houses. You know, we have a finished basement. We were 2 inches away from having that basement destroyed with the early spring rains. The only reason that it didn't occur is because I put in sandbags and a pump to kind of keep it away from the house. The thing that really helped was that we were able to, we bought pumps at no cost to the city or to the county and took that water to the drain. I understand, and Craig and I had a conversation on the phone about this. I understand that that's not a long-term solution. However, I do believe that we need to have the ability, if the city is not going to do anything to help us in the short term, if this water rises again and puts our houses at risk, that we are able to pump into those French drains, if nothing else, to keep the water out of our basements. I think that's vital to this because, as John said, this water level could significantly increase in the fall before we have any chance to get to a long-term solution. I want to at least have the ability to save my house from significant damage during that time. I understand that we don't need to do it now because all it will do is come right back. But if we can at least have the ability during those high-risk times, if the water level comes up, to move it towards the drain and keep it away from our houses, I think that at least is an appropriate and reasonable request of the city at this time, while we continue to pursue a long-term solution to this issue. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
okay, thank you. So at this time, we'll go, any more questions from council, clarifications, anything while we have Mr. Bush with us? Okay, seeing none, we'll go for a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Montgomery,
Yeah.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes.
Councilmember Sias,
Yes.
Councilmember Carlson,
Yes.
Councilmember Blease,
Yes.
Mayor Hop,
Yes,
motion passed.
thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. Bush, for spending the evening with us to help us out, and the residents for their participation also with us.
Mayor, thank you, city council members, for looking into this as well and helping your constituents out, or our constituents. Your constituents are my constituents.
Yes,
And Craig, if we can make some phone calls on, I'm willing to assist on seeing if we can get a tanker and a pump out there to see what that cost would be in the short term. Maybe under the extreme circumstances, under these big rain events, maybe pumping it that way. But let's get some costs and we can kind of make some phone calls. I know there's some of the companies that are doing it already are booked and they're doing it in other parts of the state, Kent County, Muskegon, and I think down in Kalamazoo County. So they're trucking it. So some of those companies are just already slammed just from high groundwater statewide, not just in Ottawa County. But yeah, let's make some phone calls, Greg, and see what that cost is. And maybe have that as a backup plan if we get a 5-inch rain event or something like that.
Appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
Thanks,
Okay,
Council.
we'll move down to 7B. It's the selection of the 2020 recipient for the Chamber Business Recognition Award. And I would like to nominate Loretta at Pine Street Cafe. Pine Street Cafe continues to be so supportive at all of our community events that we have, so many of them. She's also opens up for legislative coffee hours with the legislators from around the state. And then also, she also provides a very warm and welcoming environment for guests at the marina, for residents, for business owners, and at that establishment. So in our packet today, people had a list of businesses within the community to select from and a list of ones that have been selected in the past. So are there other nominations to consider?
Your Honor, I would like to nominate Channelside Storage. Mr. Camp has done a wonderful job developing that the old Kraus building, the area there on 3rd Street, and he's putting a development in off West Spring Lake Road. Everything he touches been done excellently, and it's attractive to the city.
I agree. Are there any other nominations?
Yeah,
Yes,
Your
Mr.
Honor, I would like to nominate the Reef. They've been very involved in a lot within the community, especially over the past year, including part of the Save the Bridge committee, and selling T-shirts to support that and different things.
Okay. And then Councilmember Blees, you had a,
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Greek Tony's Pizza. They've been in the city for a few years now, and I think they've done a really good job. And it looked like from the list, Pine Street Cafe didn't win, but it was quite a while ago, 1996.
96. Yes, it was quite a while ago.
I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but
Okay, are there any other nominations for this? Okay, so we will start at the top and we'll do a roll call vote for each one. Whatever organization company receives the most will be our 2020 Business of the Year Award. So we'll start out with Pine Street. Roll call, please.
Councilmember DeWitt,
No.
Councilmember Sias,
Yes.
Councilmember Carlson,
No.
Councilmember Blees,
no.
Councilmember Montgomery,
No.
Mayor Hop,
Yes.
motion failed.
Okay, we'll move down to Channelside Storage.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes.
Councilmember Sias,
No.
Councilmember Carlson,
No.
Councilmember Blees,
No.
Councilmember Montgomery,
No.
Mayor Hop,
Yes.
motion failed.
We'll move down to the Reef.
Councilmember Sias,
Yes.
Councilmember Carlson,
Yes.
Councilmember Blees,
No.
Councilmember Montgomery,
Yes.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes.
Mayor Hop,
Yes.
motion passed.
Okay. So we'll congratulate John on this. So, okay. With that being said, we'll move down to 7D. Discussion and take action if appropriate to approve the mayor's appointment of council members to the ad hoc committee for the city manager's evaluation. And I have spoken with and received their agreements that Councilmember Blees and Councilmember Carlson would be added to the ad hoc committee for this year. Each council member has received the evaluation in your packet this week. Make sure it's completed and returned. They will be needing that by August 17th, but we need to have a motion and support.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Is there support?
Support.
Motion support. Any further discussions regarding the ad hoc committee? Okay, hearing none. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Carlson,
Yes.
Councilmember Blease,
Yes.
Councilmember Montgomery,
Yes.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes.
Councilmember Sias,
Yes.
Mayor Hop.
Yes.
Motion passed. Also, someone put an evaluation in the Dropbox. It's on my desk. If one of the members would pick it up.
That would be me.
Okay.
Supposed to be anonymous.
Well, someone will have to pick it up.
We know who it is now. I'll pick up Mike's.
Thank you for being very efficient on that one, Councilmember DeWitt. So we will move down to 7D. Discussion, take action if appropriate to schedule a work session for a regular agenda item on August 17. And in speaking with Mr. Bessinger, we'd like to discuss the 2020 goals that council has set out to review. Is there anything in addition to that that any council member would like to discuss?
Well, I would think that we should have an answer on some kind of cost estimate on North Shore Road there. Let's put that on the work schedule.
Okay.
Are you want that in a work session or on the agenda?
Would you want that on an agenda to make a decision on, Mike? Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes.
or
Yes, let's put it on the agenda.
if information is received by that time?
Yes.
Okay. Any other items for a work session? Okay, hearing none, we'll go down to public comments. There's a hand up. Jim and Lisa, if you'd like to unmute to talk.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Hop. I just want to bring, I don't know if we still own it, but when I went to a mayor's conference in Midland, Michigan, I was told I could take the water truck. So we did at that time have a water truck.
Okay.
Do we still have a water truck? And if so, could we not use that when it's not being used?
Mr. Bessinger, do you have an answer for that question about the water truck?
We have fire engines, but we don't use them for pumping. So I'll do some research and bring some options to city council.
Okay.
Okay, Craig, because this was a blue vehicle. It was a DPW vehicle that had a huge tank in it, a plastic tank, I believe, of some sort, or aluminum. And we had it to use. Thank you. And
Thank you.
and thank you so much for listening to our serious problem out here on North Shore. We really appreciate it. Mayor Hop,
Yes.
Resolution 142 needs to be looked at for the city. I would like to do a work study, if that's possible, on Resolution 142 because we feel it is inaccurate and wrong.
Okay.
Thank
We can
you.
take a review of that. Thank you. Moving down to, I see no more hands up, so moving down to council members report or city manager report.
No report?
Okay. Moving down to council members, just going across the screen. We have council member Sias.
Beautification Commission meeting next Monday at 7 o'clock. I believe that's gonna be Zoomed. But other than that, no report.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Montgomery.
Craig, are we going to have a Parks and Recreation Commission meeting this month, or are we still waiting on the site plan?
I would expect she'll have something for us, but I haven't seen anything yet.
Okay, will you let us know?
Yep, I sure will.
All right, other than that, I'd like to congratulate the Reef and no further report.
Okay. Councilmember Blease.
The planning committee meeting is going to be this Thursday, August 6th, 7 PM Zoom. And then I will not be able to make the next council meeting, which is Monday, August 17th.
Okay,
End of report.
thank you. Councilmember DeWitt,
No report.
Councilmember Carlson.
Yeah, I have a question for Craig regarding buoy placement in Spring Lake. Has that all been completed?
We're gonna send the copy of the minutes in tomorrow. I did hear a little blurb that it has been approved, but I haven't seen anything official yet.
Approved, or I'm asking about the buoys. Have they been placed?
No, they haven't, we haven't got official word that they've been approved yet.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Second comment is regarding the Kitchelinquis Dunes Preserve. The board will be very pleased with the council's moving forward with an alternate member, because we were faced with having two great candidates that we wanted to place on the board. And so this will solve a problem for us. Additionally, we're really moving forward with a lot of different things because of the fact with Ottawa Sands and a lot of invasive species, we've got a lot of different things going on. We have a great mix of young people. We have two great young people that are below 30 and some older people. You know that we lost two long-term members that have essentially been with the KLH board since its inception. And that was a tremendous loss. So it's important for us to maintain continuity on the board. And I think we've done that, and it's a great thing. End of report.
Thank you. And then for my report, I attended the mass kickoff, which was really a phenomenal collaboration between the communities, and obviously well received by our community because City Hall is sold out of the mask. There's more on order, but right now they haven't been received, correct? We don't,
Correct.
okay. Anyways, and with that, I received a correspondence from a resident that I'd like to read. It says, Dear Mayor Hopp, I recently read about Ferrisburg participation in the Small Town Mask Campaign in Grand Haven Tribune, and I want to commend you on your participation in the Tri-City Community Mask Initiative. During uncertain times as these, citizens are looking for guidance to help them navigate through the COVID-19 pandemic, even as a local level. You are exhibiting true leadership and participating in promoting community mask initiative. I'm proud to live in a city where the mayor has taken an extra step beyond normal duties to protect public health, promote healthy business practices during the pandemic. Thank you. Regards, Jake Sterling. So moving on, I have quite a few things that I'd like to address with council tonight. Anyways, but to share out, Craig and I attended the ribbon cutting on the Van Wagner Trail. It was a great collaboration with Spring Lake Township because now our trails are all connected in there. It was a wonderful evening, and some residents joined us in that time too. Last Friday, I had the opportunity to represent Ferrisburg at the National Coast Guard Memorial Service. And also the Coast Guard Festival Committee presented City Council with a plaque. I don't know if you can see it. It's pretty cool. I'll bring it into Craig's office tomorrow. And then moving on, as each of you are aware that equality, equity, and implicit bias training that I had scheduled for City Council this past week was canceled due to the lack of response from Council. Our residents need to know I sent the email invitation to Council members 4 weeks prior to the training. I received emails from Mayor Pro Tem O'Donnell. He would be attending. Councilmember Blease emailed had prior commitments. Fire Chief Oldhoff replied that he would be attending. It's very frustrating to plan an in-house training presented by an area university professor to the council member, and the council members' lack of professionalism to reply. Many municipalities are conducting these trainings, and this is generally done at a cost that's associated with it. However, we were receiving this in-house training free of charge. The lack of response is very disheartening. Also, I want to clarify that I wrote the Equality, Equity, and Implicit Bias Proclamation. Council members unanimously approved. I received input from Ottawa County Director of Diversity, Ottawa County Sheriffs, Kemper, and members of the Michigan Association of Mayors. So if anyone has a question, please direct them to me for clarification. Tomorrow is election day. Remember and get out and vote. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. End of my report.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there support?
Support.
Thank you. So moved.